All 4 of these sold in the last 24 hours on eBay. I have a CD, 2 cassette tapes, and an audiobook or a CD set. Now, this is a bit of a collection here, a bit of diversification of media, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't sell too many audiobooks. I actually sold through a lot of what I have on eBay, but I still have some left. So I sell those occasionally. I'm going to go from what has taken the longest to sell to what sold the quickest, because these are all different types of scenarios here. This one, surprise, surprise, this one here, which is, put it here, Enjoying Weight Loss by this person. This is 4 CDs. It is an audiobook. It is sealed, so that always helps. However, this took quite a long time to sell, and it did sell for $8.99 plus shipping. This was listed in November of 2022, so it's been almost a year since I listed it, and it came from a Gaylord that I got the previous year, and I still see sales coming in every week. Actually, I get at least one sale, usually a couple sales from that particular Gaylord. It was 4 Gaylords, pretty inexpensive. I've done really well with those. They were not, they hadn't been gone through for anything, for Amazon or online or eBay or anything like that. So there was a lot of really good stuff in there. And I have sold, I think, I'm tracking it close to around, it's about 290 items have sold on eBay from those 4 Gaylords. I found stuff for Amazon Merchant Fulfilled and, of course, in my local store. So I've done well with those. But this was a low price item. I would not relist this item, even though it is sealed, because it just takes too long. It's just not worth it, really. I would rather put a bunch of audiobooks into a lot and sell them, or I would put this into my store, because people do buy audiobooks from me in the store. So that was $8.99. That took quite a while to sell. That's not a long tail I recommend, because there's not much profit in it, but that's an example of a long tail. Now, of course, if it had sold for $30 or more and I was making 20 bucks and up of profit, then that is, I feel, is worth it. But unfortunately, this was a lower priced item. And then the next one were these 2 in terms of when I listed them. So are you guys paying attention to cassette tapes? Because you just never know which ones are going to be worth money. Generally speaking, stuff like rap, punk, some heavy metal, hard rock type stuff can do really well. And other types of specific niches might do well as, also. But you'd be also surprised that I've sold Mariah Carey lot of cassette tapes. There's one in particular that does really well. So it's kind of worth looking them up, basically. Yeah, it's just worth looking them up. Both of these came from the same source. They came from a donation pickup back in, it was in September. So I picked those up on the 12th of September and got all of that stuff listed that made sense in there. There was of course some books, but there was a lot of CDs, a good amount of cassette tapes, and I've done really well with the CDs as well as some of the cassette tapes. I've already sold off a handful of cassette tape lots on eBay for good money. So these 2, now I think it was this one. So these were listed in September, and they just sold, so it took about a month. And one of them, this one I believe, sold for $29.99. That's right, $29.99 plus shipping. And this one sold for $39.99 plus shipping. They're the same artist, Spanish language artist. Temerarios is what they're called. So look out for them if you come across a bunch of cassette tapes. They have a barcode on the back. You can scan it, look it up. It's really simple. Not every single cassette tape has a barcode, but most of them do. Kind of like CDs, where most of them have barcodes, but of course there's some that don't, or they have a funky barcode that is not scannable, at least not scannable for us for eBay or Amazon. But yeah, cassette tapes, Spanish language ones can do well. I also sold a Vicente Fernandez cassette tape lot for some good money, and another one that had a bunch of like norteño, kind of music, ranchera kind of music. That sold pretty quickly as well. So be on the lookout for some Spanish language music cassette tapes. But these were really nice sales. And also the same person, unsurprisingly, the same person bought both of them. So I'm going to ship them together in a padded envelope. Make sure that they're nice and nicely packed. So that was, let's see, 40, 30, so about $70 plus shipping gross sales, of course. But that was really nice. So keep your eye out on that. Those sold pretty quickly. It's funny. It feels like it was a lot longer ago, but only about a month ago when I think it was the 17th is what I saw. When I listed them in September, and now we're here on the 24th of October. So a tiny bit over a month. That is a great flip as far as I'm concerned. Of course, because I got them for free. It was a pickup from a woman that I've had. This was probably like the fourth time I've picked up stuff from her. And she, first of all, from her mother and then from her. And she said she has more to come. So that's why it's good to get into that sort of niche, or not niche, but that avenue of, letting people know what you do, and even, having a business card, or even creating a website, or even a Facebook page, whatever it is, just some place that people can go and see what you do. Maybe you have photos of stuff you've picked up, kind of stuff that you're willing to pick up, and do that locally. Also Nextdoor is a great way, Craigslist, etc. The more serious you take it, the more you'll get, more types of pickups and donations you will get. So that sold pretty quickly, but the quickest one was this one, which is, I've never heard of her before, BB Black. I think, actually, yeah, I think it's, I'm sorry. Actually, does she play that? It's classical. I'm not sure if it's opera, but I guess it's classical though. The reason why this one sold, and this was listed October 18th, so it's only been 6 days, less than a week. This is the reason I listed this one, because I have the signature. You can see right there, best wishes, and there's her name. There were no other signed copies of this CD on eBay, so I listed it at $19.99 plus shipping, and it sold for that. This came from the most recent Gaylords of CDs that I got. Turns out there's a lot of signed CDs in there, so clearly somebody got rid of, donated, etc. Or someone passed away, I don't know. But there was a collection somebody had of a lot of signed CDs of a lot of different types of artists too. It wasn't the same genre. I've seen a lot of different ones. So when I come across something that's signed, whether it's a book, usually it's a book, number one. Number two would be a CD. You could also have a signed record. You could find a signed record. You usually don't find a signed DVD. I haven't really found that very often, just a handful of times. But I would mostly look for books, signatures in books, CDs, and then vinyl occasionally, but not that often. But definitely I've seen a lot of CDs that have been signed. My suggestion is to look them up on eBay, see what this particular CD is going for. So I scanned it, saw that it wasn't going for much money, but I saw that there weren't any signed, and I looked to see if anything had sold that was signed, and nothing had sold. But nonetheless, I'm definitely know that a signature can bring the value up, bump the value up of a CD. I sold one a couple of weeks ago as well from the same Gaylord, Gaylords, and it did really well also. So keep that in mind. It always depends, on the signature, but this is not a super well-known person in general. I've never heard of her before, but amongst, a collector or someone that really likes this particular artist, considering that I didn't find anything else that was signed by them, especially this CD or a CD at all, it can really make it more valuable and more rare, for sure. That's why signatures of books and CDs can go for really good money, especially books. Especially a CD too. What am I saying? I have a from the same Gaylord. I have a Weezer. That's Weezer. You probably know who that group is. That very big group, popular, successful group. A Weezer CD that is signed by I believe all 4 members, and I have it up for a lot of money right now. And I guess there's just not that many of them that are signed by all of them. So, and it has that particular or those signatures, I don't know if it was on that CD or another CD, sold for like around $500-600 if I remember correctly. So I have it listed pretty high, taking offers. So just be aware, some big groups, if there's a signature on there, it can be worth some serious money. Now, if somebody has signed a lot of books or a lot of CDs or whatever, then the value's not going to be as high, but there are other factors that can come in, like have they passed away, have they not made music or written something in a long time, maybe it's a first edition if it's a book, maybe it's first printing, that kind of stuff, the hardcover copy, or it's maybe a CD that they didn't print very many copies of. So those are other factors that come into play. So just because you're not, or you don't know the artist or the author and they're not huge or super big, doesn't mean that it's not worth it. But again, this came in a Gaylord, so I paid, very little. I only paid for shipping, and it was about $85 per Gaylord. So considering there's close to probably like 1,500, 1,800 CDs in one Gaylord, so how much am I paying for one CD? A nickel, something like that. So if you're at the thrift store and you see this for $1 or $2, is it worth it? Well, it would have been in this instance because it sold for $20, but it could be, it could be. So just do your research and find out. So those are definitely those are the sales for the last 24 hours for me. I'll see you next video. Take care. Bye.